So this lesson's about unit rates. So we actually worked with unit rates when we were talking about ratios. So remember, unit is a key word for one. So when we're talking about unit rates, we have a few key words. The biggest one we see is per, P-E-R. That's always talking about one. If I say miles per hour, that's how many miles I travel in 1 hour. Another keyword is for each. Another one is every. And another one is one. So those are the biggest 4 keywords you'll see when you're talking about unit rates. Remember, with your rates and ratios, the order matters. So if I ask the ratio of boys to girls, you must give me the ratio of boys to girls. If you give me the ratio of girls to boys, that's backwards, and therefore it would be wrong. And last thing you need to do is simplify your rate or ratio. Just like how it's a fraction, you must always simplify it, you must always simplify a rate. So my first example, it says 1 pair of pants is sold for every 10 people. What is the unit rate of people to pants? So people to pants, notice how people comes first. So I need to do people first. So I know 1 pants is sold for every 10 people. Because people is first, 10 is first. Remember, you can write a ratio as a fraction. 2 pants. Well, I know for 1 pair of pants sold for every 10 people. So I'm going to put a 1 right under. People to pants, 10 people to 1 pair of pants. Is its unit rate because there's a 1 on the bottom. So is a unit rate. So that's all I need to do. 10 to 1. My example is right here. 16 tickets are given to every game won. Remember, every, just a fancy word to say one. It's a unit rate. So I know 16 tickets are given to 1 game won. How would a table be represented? So I have right here tickets in game 1. It's important you label what's what. So I'm going to start with the first thing. 16 tickets for every game won. So if I win 1 game, I get 16 tickets. So if I keep going, if I win 2 games, I get 32 tickets. Think about this, 16 times 2, 32. If I win 3 games, I get 48 tickets. If I win 4 games, I get 64 tickets. Think about how the ratio goes. 16 to 1, 32 to 2, 48 to 3, 64 to 4. If I simplified any of these, it always get me back to 16 over 1. And if you think about it, 1 times 2 is 2, 16 times 2 is 32. 1 times 3 is 3, 16 times 3 is 48. 1 times 4 is 4, 16 times 4 is 64. So it's a good way to figure out, okay, well, 16 tickets for 1 game, you can figure out how many tickets you win for any amount of game 1. For this one's a little bit harder. I have a table right here, miles to hours, and it says find A, B, C, D. So I have A, B, C, D. So they give you everything you need to know right here. So I like to find a multiplicative relationships, meaning how much am I going to, what can I multiply on this side, and it's the same thing. So for example, 3.5 times 2 is going to get me 7. So what I did, the first times 2 gets me the second. So I'm going to do the exact same thing on here. 1 times 2 is going to get me 2. So I know A is equal to 2. So I can keep going from here. I can say, okay, well, 7 into 14. I can say 7 times 2 gets me 14. So I did second times 2 gets me 4. So I do the exact same thing over here. Second, which I know is 2, times 2 will get me my C. So 2 times 2, I know my C equals 4. So I can keep going from there. So I can say, okay, you can even do something like this. So I know 3.5 miles is in 1 hour. I want to know how many miles are in 3 hours. So 1 hour, 3.5 miles, 3 hours. So all I'm going to do is 3.5 times 3 because I have 3 hours. 5 times 3 is 15. Put the 5, carry the 1, 9, 10. 1 number behind the decimal, so move it once. 10.5. I know B is 10.5. And my last one, D. Again, I want to know how many miles in 5 hours. So I'm going to say, okay, 3.5 miles in 1 hour. I have 5 hours, so I'm going to multiply it by 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Put the 5, carry the 2, 15, 16, 17. And of course, move the decimal once because I have 1 number behind the decimal. I know D equals 17.5. So right here, this base unit rate, this concept of proportionality, 3.5 miles for 1 hour, can help you find how many miles and how many hours for each one of these. Also for my unit rates, I have right here, miles to gallons used, kind of what we did before. So I know my constant of proportionality, I have 15 miles for 1 gallon used. I want an equation to show the pair of equivalent ratios to find the unknown. Here's my unknown, is that x right there. I'm not sure what that x is. So we can set up something called a proportion. I know we talked about proportions when we learned about ratios and rates. So miles to gallons. For right here, I like to put the unit rate or the constant of proportionality. So I know 15 miles is 1 gallon. So I want to know, okay, I don't know how many miles, but I know for 3 gallons used. Remember, because gallons are on the bottom, I put the 3 on the bottom. I'm not sure how many miles used, so I'm going to put an X. And if I were to solve this, I could figure out, okay, how many miles for 3 gallons. My last one, Adam can write 120 words in 20 seconds. What is the unit rate? Unit meaning, of course, 1. And of course, I can just divide. 120 into 20. 20 can't go into 1. 20 can't go into 12. 20 go into 126 times. 120, remainder is 0. So Adam can write 6 words in 1 second. 6 words, 6 to 1 is my unit rate.